And thank you, everyone, joining our special doctor's call this evening. We have an exciting format for you to be able to listen to two specialists who have spent a lot of time using and sharing our NuuYuLife product, Somaderm Gel. So I know we have filled this call up tonight. That's over 2,500 listeners and others trying to get in. We're sorry. We will open this call up and we'll set a situation to where we have more capacity than we do tonight. This is unprecedented for a network marketing company to have these kind of numbers listening in on a call like this. It's so unique, and we're excited for the support that we've got. There have been a lot of buzz about us in the industry. We're going to keep that buzz going, and we want to do so by giving you some confidence in what you're involved with Alexi Goldstein's company, NuuYuLife, and his formulated product, the Somaderm Gel. And in doing so, I've reached out to a few doctors who have actually spoken before, but only sometimes on calls and sometimes to a limited group. But tonight we have two doctors with us that I want to share a little bit of their background, and we'll get into a little bit of a full interview with them so they can talk about it. Tonight we have Dr. Rob Gershon on with us, who is a triple board certified family medicine, sports medicine, and anti-aging regenerative medicine doctor practicing in Aspen, Colorado. Dr. Gershon recently was awarded a fellowship in stem cell therapy by the American Academy of Anti-Aging and Regenerative Medicine. This prestigious award signifies years of advanced stem cell training. Dr. Gershon served as a head team physician for the University of North Texas for over 20 years. He served as a resident physician to the U.S. Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, Colorado in 1993. And he was selected as team physician for the U.S. Olympic judo team from 1993 to 2000. He has served with the team physician as the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. He was selected to travel to Chile to the U.S. freestyle ski team during the summer of 2006. And I asked Dr. Gershon if he enjoyed skiing as one of the reasons he's in Aspen, and he said very much so, and we'll let him tell you a little bit of that. Even skied competitively, I believe he said, with the University of Utah ski team. At present, he is in Aspen, Colorado at the Aspen Institute for Anti-Aging and Regenerative Medicine. So, Dr. Gershon, welcome this evening.
Well, thanks, Ken. I'm very excited to be on this call. And, boy, 2,500 people, you know how to make a guy nervous.
Well, you just share your story, and let's tell the listeners, did I leave anything out that you would like to add to just your personal background that might be interesting to kind of break the ice for tonight?
Well, other than being happily married, the father of 5 and 4 grandkids, you know, things are pretty good in life. Really what I'm doing now has been just a natural progression from my 38-year career as a sports medicine physician into helping athletes as they age. I started doing that about 15 years ago in learning and optimizing hormones for men and women. And so that's been really my passion, to help people live better longer. A big part of that has been balancing all hormones, including human growth hormone. And so that's what I, do currently, and really that's probably more than enough of my background, and I'm just very excited to be able to share with you guys tonight.
Well, I, too, was excited when you offered your services to be able to speak to many of our distributors and customers this evening. So let's get right into it. So when were you introduced to NuuYuLife Somaderm Gel? Tell us a little bit about that introduction, and if you started using it yourselves and how you entered it into your practice a little bit. Let's take it one at a time. When did you get started introduced?
Sure. Well, it's very funny because I just received a text message from a good friend of mine from a previous company, Tasha Seith, who lives out in Idaho in the mountains there. And, I got a text message with this little 3-minute video. And I just looked and it said, HGH something. And I was like, wait a second. It caught my attention. I watched it immediately. And I called her within 15 seconds of seeing that video, because as I watched that, I'm very familiar with human growth hormone. I've prescribed it for many years. I've used it intermittently for 15 years, and I understand the market. And so I saw that, watched it. I thought it was extremely well done. It piqued my interest, and I said, I've got to check this out. If this is real, then the market's massive. I want to find out more about this. So I called her immediately, and was fortunate enough within, about 30 minutes actually to be able to talk to Alexi Goldstein. We spent an hour on the phone that night. My good friend, Dr. Randy Nordyke, FedExed a bottle to me, and I started using the product within a day or two, and, was just very excited. So, that's kind of how I was introduced, which is the way probably most of the people on this phone were introduced to the product, the company, the idea. People understand by and large, or as say, are more aware of human growth hormone, of optimizing hormones as we age. It's been around the secret for 20 years, but it has become a buzzword. And so I started using the product. I've been doing a hormone replacement since I turned 50, which, I hate to say it, 15 years ago. And I'm in better shape now. I feel stronger than when I was 40. So when I started using this product, I didn't notice a lot immediately. I just started using it. I know my wife, about 2 weeks later, said, are you losing weight? And I said, I don't know. I didn't even have a bathroom scale at home. I was fairly fit, not certainly significantly overweight. But I brought home a scale from the office, and in 2 weeks, I'd already dropped, I think, about 6 pounds. By the end of 8 weeks, it was 14 pounds. That was March and April. And I've maintained a 15-pound weight loss ever since. I feel great. And, I've used injectable growth hormone many times over the years, and I've always felt the benefits. I've felt stronger, good muscle tone, mental clarity, many things, but I never had that kind of weight loss. And so I was very excited about it. I actually reached out to Alexi again and to find out. I said, I don't get it. How is this product working so well? And I'll share that with you in a minute, because I was very surprised. I got to tell you, initially I was skeptical. I didn't really know anything about homeopathic dosing, about this botanical formula that he created, that he's worked on this really for many years and has had great success with it prior to launching this company. And so I started using it. I told you my weight loss stories, but I got to tell you, I started noticing a difference in my dreams and my quality of sleep. I've never had a problem sleeping, but, I go to bed, I wake up, the alarm's off, and it's time to go. I don't really remember a whole lot of what happened during the night, or, in other words, my brain was not real active. I didn't reach a real deep level of sleep. And I can tell you, it's almost humorous. I mean, I wake up daily going, what the heck was all that about? And so, it really is one of the benefits that I enjoy a lot. So that's kind of how the story of how I got started personally using the product. A friend, Tasha, just reached out to me, sent me a video. It immediately piqued my interest, and I wanted to try it because I understood, what I have to say is that, this market is huge. It's massive because, people pay me a lot of money to balance their hormones. We do a lot of different things in anti-aging medicine, from nutrition and vitamins and pharmaceutical grade vitamins and proper eating and ketogenic diets. But if you don't balance and optimize all your hormones, you will never see the same kind of results. So I was very aware of all of this, and I just saw it as an easy addition. I know the cost. Human growth hormone from the cheapest form is anywhere from $800 or $900 to $1,200 or $1,300 a month for an average dose, therapeutic dosing of one unit, 1 IU daily. That's not enough for many people when we're talking about therapeutic dosing. So the cost can go into the thousands. And to have a product that, the average person, that anyone can afford at even $170 retail, I said, well, this is huge. And all of the patients and all of the people that I know and the family and people that I care about and love will benefit from this product. So that is really what brought me to this point with the company and starting to see, success with it, sharing with others, and really developing some stories.
So let's talk a little bit about, I know you shared with me, and maybe if you would just share with our listeners tonight, we know that a measurement of an increase in human growth hormone in your body is by checking your IGF-1 levels. And you shared with me last night that you did that check. Would you tell the listeners tonight just what you saw on being on the Somaderm gel alone? Because I know you've spoken about before using the injections, and I'll talk a little bit later about that massive market size. But let's talk about what you saw, because you had the ability to check your IGF-1 levels. What change you saw in yourself?
Well, sure. And, I as I tell most people, we all lose our hormones as we age. No one is immune to this. Starting at age 30, you lose 1 to 3% a year, whether you're male or female, whether it's estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, or human growth hormone. IGF-1 levels are what we customarily check. And mine have been down for some time. As I said, I've used injectable, depending on my budget, from time to time for a very long time. And I did, I throughout the year, I'm always checking my hormone levels. I have one of my old medical school classmates that takes care of my levels and prescribes medication for me personally. And my IGF-1 levels have been around 130 for quite a while. I had a blood test 2 weeks ago prior to repeating my testosterone pellets, and my IGF-1 level was 150. Well, it hasn't been over 130 in probably 5 years. It's been down a while, but it just is what it is. So I was very surprised, because I understand with this product customarily it can affect levels anywhere from 2 to 5%. But, if you do the math, it's almost a 15% increase. And so, I was very pleased with that. People ask me, well, what is about that? Do I need to test blood? Do I need to do these things? It's always a good idea to know where you're at, because, like I said, there's many things besides growth hormone that need to be balanced as we age. This is different than therapeutic dosing. When I'm dosing, I'm trying to get to someone for an optimal dose of human growth hormone, their IGF-1 level probably back very close to 200, if not higher. And so, well, gee, how can this product work if it only raises it 2 to 5, or in my case, almost 15%? And that's what led me to reach out to Alexi again, recently, saying, I don't get it. I have prescribed this for 15 years. I've never personally seen this kind of weight loss. I've never seen this in my patients. Even with small increases, people just feel better. They have a better sense of well-being. They're sleeping better. They're happy. They're more mentally focused. And that's where he explained the beauty of this botanical blend. And he actually said, 2/3 of this activity, I hope it's all right that I share this, but is from this natural botanical blend that he has formulated, not from extracts, not from concentrates, but from real raw natural botanicals, which, are amazing. And so I've been more than pleasantly pleased. It certainly opened my eyes as to the effectiveness of this kind of a product in a homeopathic blend that's safe. So, and I know we were going to talk about some more of that in a little bit, but I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, we will talk about safety because that's certainly important and certainly some questions going about among our distributors. Would you share with us, if you could, I know this might be a surprise to you, but I know you have patients in there. I know that you have patients that you have on the very expensive injections. And again, I'll talk about that size of that market, but tell us just how many patients you've suggested should start Somaderm gel that come to your clinic.
Well, I can't tell you the exact count, but it's more than dozens. And, you know, as I see people and look at their levels, look at things we're doing, you know, the majority are not spending $1,200-$1,300 a month on top of their medications, on top of paying me $2,500 a year to manage them, on top of, you know, life. And so I say, look, you may or may not be interested in this. I'm going to share this little 3-minute video. You can become a customer if you like it. Sometimes I have product in my office. Sometimes I don't. And if you like it, great. You can cancel any time. You can buy it wholesale. Well, gee, you know, $140 or so wholesale is pretty doable for most people. With the education I give them over time concerning their hormones, concerning the benefits of growth hormone from muscle mass, body composition, strength, skin tone, texture, hair color, nails, brain, you know, mental focus, brain activity, sleep, you know, they get it. You know, if we get 2 out of 10 of those things, you know, where most people are much better off in life. And so I've shared it with a number of people. I've actually I have a lot of, you know, people in Aspen are very, very physically active, and the day they can't hike the mountain or go hike the back bowl or do whatever is like, you know, you would think that the sky was falling. And I have a patient in particular who's amazingly fit and very knowledgeable on nutrition and diet and many other factors, and he's, in fact, enlightened me on a number of topics over the years. I was hesitant to even tell him about it, but I know that he didn't want to pay for growth hormone. I said, well, look, you know, and this was back in April or May when I just got started. One of the first people I shared it with, and he said, you know, I just shared it. I said, I don't know if you're interested in this. It's a homeopathic topical gel. I think it may help you out. Why don't you check it out? And lo and behold, I got an email within hours that he had purchased product. He continued to purchase product when his auto ship wasn't coming in and he was traveling. He was at the office because he would literally panic if he didn't have a bottle. And I'm like, well, gee, Dave, I guess this is working for you, huh? He's like, yeah, I can't believe it. I didn't think it would, but, man, I love this stuff. And, you know, so I have all kinds of interesting stories like that. And I think the ones that, you know, excite us the most are, you know, many people, you work your whole life to live in a place like Aspen, and you want to be active. And, you know, if you're on the couch and don't feel like getting off the couch and have no energy to do things with your family and friends, or even just play and spend time with your kids or grandkids, what's it all worth? So for me, it's been really exciting. I mean, I'm passionate about what I do and helping people to enjoy their lives better and to live healthier, you know, as my motto is to help them live better longer.
I love that motto. And I imagine besides Dave, now people should understand that since we have Somaderm back available in August, it's only been a few months. So as people return to your office, your patients return to your office to visit with you and maybe even had blood drawn or whatever, it's only been probably 1 or 2 times, maybe 1 time that you've seen them in a follow-up. Have you had the success stories that Dave shared with you? You're seeing that from others as well?
Yeah, I have. I mean, people just tend to feel better. And for everyone, it's something a little bit different. There's a lot of commonalities, you know, energy, sleep, muscle mass. I talked to the guy on the phone today that's interested. He called me and learned of me through New Year Life, interested in starting my anti-aging program. He's like, you know, what do you think? Is this stuff real? I said, well, how do you feel? He's like, well, I've lost 17 pounds. I said, well, that's incredible. Did you change much else? No, not really. Just eat healthy like I always have. So, I think it's really very exciting, very amazing. The results are, I got to say, I see more than I have with my 15 years of prescribing injectable growth hormone.
Dr. Gershon, I think that's really incredible, and we should share with our listeners tonight that, of course, results will vary. You even see results that vary in the injectables, I'm sure, and a commitment to be on a product like Somaderm is similar to the commitment that you probably told your people getting on an expensive, which really works out to somewhere between $1,800 and $2,500 a month to be on the injectables, to be in the office visit, to have their labs done. This is something that is not a 30-day or a 60-day plan. This is something people commit to, and I think you could probably share with them what I've told people is that 6 months you're starting to really feel it. In 12 months is better than your 6 months, and often your second and third year is better than your first 6 months. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely. And even with injectable, and even when I start people on balancing their hormones, I say, for men it's a little easier. For women, I say, look, it's going to take us 3, 6, 9 months to get things where it's best for you. Not everybody's the same. We all respond differently. And I've had many patients with human growth hormone injections that, well, how you doing? Well, I don't know if I feel any better, but this or that, it's a little this, a little better and so forth, or I feel stronger, I'm not sore as long. I think we find that a lot. I find that with patients of mine that are fit and younger and have less health challenges, that what they notice is different. They say, I feel stronger, I'm not sore as long after I have a hard workout, and I feel better. It's just that sense of well-being. And so it's a long-term process. People don't come see me and want to live better longer for 6 months. I want to feel good for a year. And then they'll ask me, they say, well, how long do I have to keep doing this? I say, well, I don't know. How long do you want to feel good? You can stop now. And that's the reality, that as we age, it doesn't go back. We're not Benjamin Button. It isn't going to go backwards for us. We continue the path. We just want to be able to age gracefully, to age better, to feel our very best, and to be able to be as active, physically active as possible.
That's great. And in conclusion, I think we can't leave out the fact that we need to talk about safety and your feelings about this and what you've seen with not only yourself, but what you've seen with your patients and what you maybe have even seen in the injectables as well as the Somaderm gel. Would you just kind of touch on that? And let's discuss it a minute.
Sure. I just think the important thing is to understand with this product, with Somaderm, that this is not therapeutic dosing. It's homeopathic microdosing, and we have many, many benefits. I can tell you in 15 years of prescribing therapeutic dosing and getting to fairly high blood levels, safe blood levels that people were at in their, let's say, teens and early 20s, and maintain them there, that, I see people say, well, I want to talk to my doctor. So, well, that's great. You may or may not be any more aware of this than you. The wives' tales are out there. Well, this growth hormone I heard that it causes cancer. Well, I can tell you there's not one published study that showed in the medical literature that shows that human growth hormone causes cancer. On the converse side of that, flip side is that there are studies in the anti-aging world that's showing optimal hormone levels, including growth hormone, suppress inflammation, can suppress cancer risk, stroke risk, heart attack risk across the board, improves lipid function, lipid metabolism with hormone optimization, glucose metabolism, many things. And so I have never seen that. Would we give it to someone that has cancer? Absolutely not. It can increase mitosis or cell division turnover, and that's a given. So why risk it? The market is massive. There are millions of people that just want to feel better, that need the health benefits that this product can give. And so I just say that's where you should focus your attention. If someone's not sure, certainly recommend that they talk to their doctor. He may or may not be knowledgeable on it. There's certainly plenty of information out there to be able to support using it and certainly in a homeopathic dose. And I can tell you 15 years of prescribing it to my patients across the board, I have never seen someone develop cancer. And I've had a few that have had it in the past. That's a whole nother question. I don't think you need to go there. That's something that I am comfortable doing, but not the average person, and that's just not a market that we need to go to with this product, in my opinion.
Of course, and everyone should be aware that we have over, in New Year Life, we have over 120,000 people who have purchased one bottle, more than one bottle, and on. And in that 121,000, there are certainly going to be some people, I've seen it myself, that have some allergies. It's not for everyone. It's not a cure-all. If they have incidences of anything, it's just something that may not fit those. And all doctors will tell you there is a certain amount in the world of percentage-wise that could have a reaction, skin reaction or whatever. In that case, don't use it. So, Dr. Gershon, I want to thank you. And we should tell the people tonight that Dr. Gershon is so confident in what he has. He's attending as a member Dr. Klatz as the anti-aging in Las Vegas in a short time. So confident that he's going to be sharing the New Year Life Somaderm product with many doctors that are his peers. And we're trying to work our way into Dr. Klatz's. The reason I bring that name up, for those of you who are interested, probably the best book on human growth hormone is called Grow Young with HGH, is his book, and not that we get anything from it, but you can find it on Amazon. If you want to see some of the benefits that come from having an increased amount of growth hormone in your body, that is one of the best. So, Dr. Gershon, if there are any ending thoughts, I just want to thank you before we move over to Dr. Carpenter and say thanks for being a part of New You Life, and thanks for sharing your wisdom and your information and all that you've gathered with our distributors tonight.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ken. Thank you.
And thank you. And Dr. Dave Carpenter, let me introduce him very quickly. He is a friend. We did not announce him. He's a surprise, and I brought him on for a number of reasons tonight. Dr. Dave Carpenter is a medical doctor, an MD, and after becoming a doctor, he started studying naturopathic medicine. He's currently a National Board Certified Naturopathic Medical Doctor. He is not only a naturopathic, he is a homeopathic. He uses homeopathic medicine in his practice. He's a traditional Chinese medicine in his practice. He's an acupuncturist. He's a popular speaker with lectures around the world and author of a book by the name of 5 Pillars of Health. Dave, in his book, tells people he believes an educated patient is a healthier patient. So, Dr. Dave, welcome tonight.
Well, thank you, Ken. It's great to be here with all of you tonight. Thanks for the invitation.
So, as a naturopathic medical doctor, a little different. You've taken a different approach after you received your MD, and of course we've talked about your background. You were introduced to New You Life's Somaderm Gel back in February, March of 2018?
I think the first time I heard about it from New You Life was right around the first of the year, Ken. I spent several months checking it out. In fact, I realized after a certain period of time that I'd heard about it previously. It was being sold under a different name, and some of the patients that I worked with, particularly athletes, had been using it. Some of them had been using it for quite a while. So I had a little bit of knowledge about it previously. I wasn't aware that the company had relaunched or had started a new company in the networking direct sales arena. But I was very tickled to know that it was the same product because I had some familiarity with it.
So I want to get into that. And for those who don't know, Dr. Dave is actually the one who told me about this product, and he had done his homework, and he and I had been involved in the HGH business with precursors and secretagogues before, and the results that he was finding out were absolutely epic over what we were getting out of our products. And you actually put a call into a couple doctors who were monitoring some of the MMA fighters that Alexei often talks about. Do you want to share what they shared with you, and then we'll go into what you found in your own practice?
Absolutely, Ken. I got the names of a couple of doctors that were monitoring individuals taking the product. Some of them had been on it for several years, and so these doctors had a pretty nice profile that they could share. And what I learned was that this gel was helping these athletes increase and hold a stable human growth hormone level, or IGF-1 level is actually how we test it, which Dr. Gershon talked about. But it was a very stable level that was equivalent to what many of us had as teenagers. Somewhere between 185 and 200 was really interesting to me because that's kind of unheard of for 40 and 50-year-olds in general, unless you're injecting. So found that very fascinating. But what they all said, and this was significant to me, was that they were seeing over the period of checking about a 3 to 5% steady increase. And that seemed to be month after month after month. And that had, by the way, has been very consistent with what I'm seeing with my own patients, Ken. So we're seeing the product work in a nice, slow, gentle, but very steady build kind of way. And I really like that, because most of the side effects that people experience on the injections come from that drastic increase that we get when we administer therapeutic doses.
You know, I spoke with another doctor who had over, again, an anti-aging clinic, who had over 200 patients on the Somaderm gel, and he said that very same thing. He said, I draw their blood, I check it, I am seeing absolutely no spikes, but I'm seeing gradual growth, and I'm pleased to hear that you're saying that's what we're looking for. That's the type of thing we're going. Now, for those listening tonight, maybe you don't realize, and I just want to share with you, and Dr. Dave, you can add to this, when human growth hormone, whether you inject it or whether your pituitary gland is producing it, it doesn't last very long in your body. It only lasts about 45 minutes or a little bit longer than that. But the way we're able to measure it is through your blood, and let's draw and look for the IGF-1 factors that both Dr. Gershon and Dr. Dave are talking about. That's the thing left over. Do you want to kind of explain that as quickly as possible, Dr. Dave?
Yeah, I'll do my best, Ken, to do that quickly. Human growth hormone is produced by the pituitary gland, as most people know, and the majority of it is produced during the sleep cycle. And the half-life, I believe, is around 25 minutes, which means that 50% of it's used up within 25 minutes of making it. So in order to test growth hormone directly, the problem lies for the doctor is if it's being made mostly between 2 and 3 a.m., for example, we would need you in to draw the blood and have it run through the lab, between that same period of time, because you've only got about 30 minutes and half of it's used up. That's not going to give you an accurate reading. But, IGF-1 is a relative, let's call it, that is more stable because it's bound to protein. So it's stable, and we can look at that IGF-1 level throughout the day, and it is directly related to the amount of growth hormone in the body. So it's simply an easy way or a more accurate way to get a reading on what the pituitary gland is doing as far as producing growth hormone. Hope that made sense.
So yeah, it does, and I think our listeners appreciate that information. So let's talk about you and your practice. For those who are not familiar with Dr. Dave, he sold his practice, and he participates in another clinic a couple days a week. And you certainly have had people on it. I've spoken to those people that have had some remarkable results. So as a doctor or their doctor, why don't you share with us maybe your own success, and as well as a couple of your patients that you've seen that wouldn't mind if you shared their stories.
Well, thanks, Ken. Yeah, I'll start with myself. And, as you mentioned, we've been on the antecedent product for several years, I think about 4 years or maybe a little longer. And I was very happy with the results I was getting there. It was definitely working well. I didn't particularly like the injections myself, but I did like the antecedent. And, it's a good product. But here's what I think is the most important thing is I started taking Somaderm about mid-April. On the 1st of April, I actually did a blood profile, and I went back and looked, and my IGF-1 level on April 1st was 155. I pulled another one on November 1st and looked at it, and it was 185. So there was a nice gradual increase of more than I would have anticipated. But the point that I really wanted to make there is I had been on that antecedent product for a number of years, and yet my high point was 155, and I was taking it at the time on April 1st. So going to the gel has boosted my levels even higher than they were on the other product. Again, I think it's a testament to how effective this product really is, Ken. So for myself, there's several things that I have noticed going on the gel that have improved. My sleep was good, now it's better. I'm definitely getting the more vivid dreams, the more colorful dreams, which is an indication of better REM sleep. REM sleep is that part when we dream in our sleep cycle. But in order to get there, we have basically 4 levels in the sleep cycle, and you have to go from level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, back up to 3, back up to 2, back up to 1, which is REM. So in order to do that, you have to be sleeping good, and that is controlled by hormones, of course. So optimized hormones helps us sleep better. And if you're not sleeping like you did when you were a kid, you probably need some hormone balancing and some help. And most people, as they get older, that's a big issue. Well, I'm sleeping better. I definitely have better endurance. I have stronger muscles than I had even a year ago. It's not that I am a heavy workout junkie or anything like that, but just in my normal routines, I am seeing my physical health improve, and I'm really tickled with that. My endurance is great. Last summer did some hiking on the Continental Divide Trail with some friends, and most of them were about 15 or 20 years younger than I am, and still was keeping up with them, and in fact leading the way a lot of the time. They couldn't figure out what I was doing, and I'm really tickled with the results. Another thing that I noticed that I haven't even shared with you, Ken, is, as you know, I played a few sports when I was younger, and one of the issues I had was a pretty severe damage to my left shoulder and my neck. And for as long as I can remember, since my early 20s in college when this happened, when I would turn my neck, it would kind of grate. You could hear the grinding effect inside as I would turn my head from left to right or right to left. I just noticed about 3 weeks ago that is almost completely gone, and that just shocked me. I was like, wow, I didn't anticipate something like that, but it just goes to show when we give the body what it really needs, it will do an amazing job of healing and repairing itself.
So you mentioned to me, and I think you need to share this with our listeners tonight, about one of your patients that had some really kind of shocking results with their increased levels of growth hormone. Please share that with the group, if you would.
I will, Ken. I have a patient who is in his late 60s who was having a lot of challenges. We got him on the gel about the same time I got on it back in April, and He just had his blood levels run, and he actually was telling me that the doctor was almost concerned. He said, I've never seen somebody your age with an IGF-1 level that was approaching 200. That's about the same level as a 20-year-old. And the doctor was absolutely shocked. I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know what his beginning levels were. He didn't have that information for me when we talked, but as we talked it through, he was surprised at how much this gel is doing and how well it was working for him. His blood sugar has fallen into line. His cholesterol had dropped substantially. But more importantly, the level between his, what we'll call his good cholesterol and his unhealthy cholesterol, the LDL-HDL ratio, was 1-to-1. He said it hasn't been 1-to-1 since he was in the service as a 20-year-old. And so he was shocked at that, as was his doctor. He's since moved. I'm no longer his doctor, but he's in another state. But his doctor was shocked. And quite frankly, I had to say I wasn't, because I've seen this more than once. And it's just a wonderful thing to experience with people, Ken. I have had so many people thank me for sharing this gel with them, simply because it's making the quality of their life so much better. And it's affordable, it's easy to do, and they are just really being blessed in many, many ways.
Thank you, Dr. Carpenter. The last thing I'm going to ask you is that as a doctor and as the patients that you see, are you seeing any concerns of safety for them? And if so, please share with us maybe any warnings that you would say if anything has come up, because I know it's a big question out there among our field.
Well, Ken, there's always going to be a few people that are allergic to certain things. For example, there are a percentage of people that are allergic to aloe vera, which is the main compound that makes up the gel. If somebody's allergic to it, they may not be able to use it. But for the most part, what I've run into and what others have called me about is things like maybe for the first few days somebody puts it on their wrist, just for example, and they get a little rash. Or they start noticing flu-like symptoms, or perhaps they even have some aches and pains that they didn't have before. What I've learned is that for almost all of these people, a couple of things are happening, and it's a real easy solution. The solution is this, and then I'll explain what's happening. The solution is to get them to drink more water. When you say, are you drinking enough water, their answer is always no. Well, one of the things we know that happens when you optimize growth hormone levels is your body starts to make more of a molecule called glutathione, and glutathione, of course, is one of the most important antioxidants the body makes, but it's also a very important molecule for detoxifying cells. So we start to detoxify some of the pollution that's been building up in our bodies, and if you're not drinking enough water, it's overwhelming. So dehydration is a big problem. So if somebody's saying, I'm getting a rash, or I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm a little more run down, or I'm getting flu-like symptoms, just tell them to drink a half an ounce of water for every pound they weigh. So if you have a 200-pound person, they need to drink, or I would suggest they drink about 100 ounces of water throughout the day. If they'll do that for a few days, those symptoms will definitely go away. I've found that's worked 100% of the time, Ken. And the reason that we need to do that also is just to help the body rehydrate. It's important because as we start to dehydrate as we age, our body's making less and less of a molecule called hyaluronic acid, which is very key to keeping the joints hydrated, the cartilage particularly in the joints, but also the cells individually. And so, again, it's like pouring water into a pitcher that has holes in the bottom if you're not making hyaluronic acid. Well, isn't it interesting to find out that those with higher HGH levels have higher hyaluronic acid levels? And it's because, just like when we were kids, when we had optimized growth hormone levels, we were producing lots of HA, and we had smooth skin. We didn't have wrinkles. We were hydrated. So just a really important part when you start dealing with those kinds of issues, Ken.
Thank you, Dr. Dave. Again, Dr. Dave Carpenter, Dr. Rob Gershon, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with all of our listeners tonight.